Today, we're starting the first episode. Say, O you who have believed, fulfill your contracts. Lawful for you are the animals of livestock, except for what is recited to you, not permitting hunting while you are in a state of Iram. Indeed, Allah decrees what He wills. This means that God has made these livestock animals, like camels, cows, sheep, and all these kinds, lawful for you, except for what has been specifically prohibited. The things that have been explicitly prohibited in the Quran. Like what, for example? Forbidden to you are carrion, blood, and pork. That's what's coming up in Al-Maidah 3. Okay. But at the same time, He also forbade hunting animals and all these things while in a state of Iram. When you're in Iram, don't hunt any animals. It's clear that they used to do it. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been a verse revealed to prohibit it. The source for this is Majma al-Bayan fi Tafsir al-Quran by al-Tabrisi. That's actually very good. I also want to hear, there are maybe two questions. What's the connection between fulfilling covenants or contracts and, the permissibility of slaughtering livestock and eating their meat and so on? Fulfilling contracts and covenants, or contracts specifically, and the permissibility of eating livestock. What's the connection between this and that? The second question is, at the end of the verse it says, indeed, Allah judges as He wills. What does that mean, He judges? Is there more than one ruling here? O you who have believed, do not violate the symbols of Allah, nor the sacred month, nor the sacrificial animals, nor the garlands, nor those coming to the sacred house seeking bounty from their Lord and His pleasure. And when you have completed your rites, then hunt. And do not let the hatred of a people who barred you from the sacred mosque lead you to transgress. And cooperate in righteousness and piety, but do not cooperate in sin and aggression. And fear Allah. Indeed, Allah is severe in punishment. There are two opinions regarding the reason for elation. The first opinion is that polytheists performed pilgrimage to the sacred house and offered sacrifices. Keep in mind, polytheists. First, they performed pilgrimage. Second, they offered sacrifices. All these pilgrimage rituals are actually taken from the traditions of the Arabs. They were already there. They go to Safa and Marwa, walk between them, perform the circumambulation, stone the devil. Here, it says that the polytheists perform pilgrimage. The polytheists, pay attention to these words. They used to perform pilgrimage, yes, to the house, the sacred house, and they would offer sacrifices, slaughtering animals. Very good. So the Muslims wanted to launch a raid against them. They wanted to attack them, to launch an assault on them. Then the verse was revealed. Pay attention. Very good. So what was this opinion? First, the second opinion is that the Arabs did not consider Safa and Marwa as part of the rituals of Hajj, and they did not perform tawaf between them. Pay attention. That was another opinion, meaning, very good. So the verse appeared and told them no. Every time I say no, you shouldn't make it permissible, because there are a lot of prohibitions in it. This verse is very good. Do not make permissible what God has forbidden to you during Iram. During Iram, there are many things, so many things you shouldn't do. So, do not make them permissible. Very good. That's one, and do not make fighting permissible in the sacred month. In the sacred month, do not fight. That's the second one. No, that's not it. Do not make permissible things that God has forbidden during Iram. And do not make fighting permissible in the sacred month. That's number 2. All right. So what did the Arabs used to consider? They used to consider the sacred months to be Dhu al-Chidah, Dhu al-Hijjah, Muharram, and Rajab. All these 4 months, what did they consider them? The sacred month, they considered it so, and some of them considered only Rajab as the sacred month. That's the sacred month. All right, that's good. Very nice. Okay. And also, do not make them permissible, nor anything that has been dedicated to the house of God, like a she-camel or a sheep. If someone brought an offering to the house of our Lord, don't take it. Don't claim it for yourselves. Very good. Nor the garlands. These were things that used to be tied around the necks of animals, sheep, and all that. Don't make them permissible. Don't take them for yourselves. So what does this mean? Garlands used to be placed around the necks of camels, like the decorations soldiers wear on their shoulders and necks. And all these things, these garlands that were put on, don't make them permissible either. Very good. And again, do not prevent those who are heading to the sacred mosque for trade. People used to go there to trade. They weren't going for pilgrimage. There were people who just went to trade to sell and buy for the pilgrims. Water, goods, food, drink, clothes, and other things. He says, don't stop them. Let them earn their living. Very good. Okay, once the state of Iram is over, then you can hunt. Hunting is allowed. Here, it says, and do not let the hatred of a people for having barred you from the sacred mosque lead you to transgress. And so on. You get it? What does that mean? It means, don't let your enmity towards a people, because they previously barred you from the sacred mosque and were hostile to you, and you were hostile to them. Don't let your hatred or enmity towards them. You see, don't let that make you transgress against them. Yeah, don't let it make you, for example, prevent them from entering the sacred mosque. And some people said it means not to violate the sacred symbols of God or the sacred mosque. This one, it forbids fighting during the sacred month. But it was abrogated by his saying, kill the polytheists wherever you find them in At-Tawbah, verse 5. The other interpretation says, and do not prevent those heading to the sacred house. Don't stop those going to the sacred house, even if they stopped you. All these things, this verse forbids preventing the polytheists. Meaning, it's telling you not to prevent the polytheists from entering the sacred house. All right, that's clear. This verse here, there are two, Al-Maidah. It forbids preventing, that is, forbidding the polytheists from entering the mosque, the sacred house, or the sacred mosque. I'm sorry, that's forbidden. This statement was abrogated by his saying, so let them not approach the sacred mosque after this year of theirs. We took that in Al-Baqarah, verse 28. Go back to it. Who's the source that said all of this? Al-Razi's Keys to the Unseen. 3. Forbidden to you are carrion, blood, the flesh of swine, and what has been dedicated to other than Allah, and the strangled, the beaten, the fallen, and the gored, and what has been eaten by a wild animal, except what you are able to slaughter, and what is sacrificed on stone altars, and that you seek division by arrows. That is grave disobedience. Today those who disbelieve have despaired of your religion, so do not fear them, but fear me. Today I have perfected your religion for you, completed my favor upon you, and have chosen Islam as your religion. But if anyone is forced by severe hunger, with no inclination to sin, then surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. The truth is, the meaning here, just so we don't take up too much time. Eating carrion has been forbidden to you. Dead animals are forbidden to you, except, of course, for locusts, fish, and things like that. Fish, for example, can be dead and you can fry it, grill it, and eat it. There's no problem. All right, and every time I mention this, it means animals that move, and pork, and anything slaughtered without mentioning Allah's name, and the strangled animal, and the one killed by a blow. What are those? The one that was beaten until it died, for example, and the one that fell, the mutaradia, meaning it fell from a mountain or into a well or something like that and died. You get what I mean? And the nadeha, that's the animal that gored its owner. So he hit it and killed it. All those kinds of things. And prey of wild beasts. When a wild animal goes and eats something or bites it or anything like that, that's also forbidden, except if you catch it while it's still alive and you slaughter it. Then there's no problem at all. Very good. And the one slaughtered for an idol, for what they call nusub, which is the idol. They used to bring things like that during festivals, put them in front of the idols, and slaughter them. He said no, that's forbidden too. You get it? Don't eat it. And also, they used to practice divination with arrows, which was basically a kind of gambling. They bring about 10 people, then they bet, and 9 of them would get a share, but the 10th wouldn't get anything and would have to pay for the cost of the slaughtered animal as well. Anyway, this isn't a topic that needs much detail or anything. Very well here. So what does that mean? All of that is forbidden for you. Alright, I don't want to repeat it again because the verse explains itself anyway. Here it says, "And I have approved for you Islam as your religion." Pay attention to this point. Islam as a religion isn't just submission like some people say. I have approved for you Islam as your religion, meaning its rituals and a symbol. So make sure you really understand this well. Yeah, exactly. So here, it continues the meaning, saying that if someone is forced to eat any of these things that we've forbidden them. Yeah, like in a famine and not out of defiance. Meaning, he's compelled, not being stubborn. He's not doing this out of defiance against the religion or against God or anything like that. He's compelled, not being rebellious, not doing it on purpose. I'm sorry, he bears no sin or anything. What's the reason for the revelation of this verse? The reason for its revelation is a story. The disbelievers despaired of your religion when the prophet conquered Mecca and the announcer called out, "Whoever says there is no God but Allah is safe. And whoever, I think, lays down his weapons is safe. And whoever shuts his door on himself is safe." All of Quraysh surrendered their weapons. You see how it is. And not just that. And they surrendered as well. There's another verse that says, "Today I have perfected your religion for you." This one also has a reason for its revelation when the prophet was in Mecca. You see, at that time in Mecca, the only obligation was prayer. The other obligations hadn't been revealed or made clear yet. So when he reached Medina, the rest of the verse was revealed, God's obligations regarding what is lawful and unlawful, and the rest of the rituals and duties and all those things. Very good indeed. So the verse was revealed. Very nice words. Who's the source here? The source here is Bar al-Ulum by al-Samarkandi. Alright, really beautiful, honestly. Here also, just so you know, the word today. Pay attention to the word today. Today I have perfected your religion for you and approved it for you. This means that the Quran is recent because it's only today. I have perfected your religion for you. Because today here refers to the day the verse was revealed. This simply means that the religion wasn't complete before because it was revealed in stages. The Quran was revealed over 20-something years, just so you know. So, when it says today, it literally means the actual historical day. You get it? So, the Quran wasn't in the preserved tablet or anything like that. And it's not ancient or anything. God is eternal, but the Quran is recent, see? And the proof is that it says today. That today is known. Its place, its time, its date, everything. You see? 4. They ask you what is lawful for them. Say, lawful for you are all good things, and what your trained hunting animals catch for you, teaching them as God has taught you. So eat of what they catch for you, and mention God's name over it, and be mindful of God. Surely, God is swift in reckoning. There are 2 opinions about the reason for this revelation here. Adi ibn Hadim and Zayd ibn al-Mulhil asked the Prophet a question. They said to him, "We are people who hunt with dogs," or "We hunt using dogs." So what is lawful for us from what they catch? The verse was revealed. Alright. Here, the second opinion about the reason for the revelation. When the Prophet ordered the killing of dogs. Alright, they asked him. People asked him, "What is lawful for us from the dogs you ordered to be killed? Should we kill all the dogs, or is there something among them that is permissible?" The verse appeared, alright. Very nice. Those were the 2 opinions about the reason for the revelation. So when the verse was revealed, and here, this really caught my attention. Honestly, when the verse was revealed, the prophet had forbidden. He told them, no, not all the dogs are to be killed. Very good. When the verse was revealed, and they kept asking him and arguing, saying, we hunt with them, and what else do we have besides them? You see, when the verse was revealed, the prophet permitted keeping dogs that are beneficial and forbade keeping dogs that are not useful. That is, supposedly, the prophet is not a legislator to permit or prohibit. This is my personal point of view. There are 12 verses that define the prophet's role in the Quran, in different verses across 12 different surahs. His role is simply to deliver the message, not to legislate. In any case, what does this mean? The meaning here is that God has made it lawful for you to slaughter livestock in his name, and also to hunt certain things, meaning livestock and all of that with the animals that you have trained to hunt well, like if you have a lion, a cheetah, a dog, or something that you've trained to hunt. Yeah, the source is Ma'alam al-Tanzil by al-Baghawi. Very good. Here, actually, he says the following, and at the end of the verse, it says, and fear God, for God is swift in reckoning. What does that have to do with the verse? The second question is, why female? Did the verse make the dogs female? Even though, of course, there are male dogs as well, and that's why it says the following. What does the verse say? It says, and what you have trained of hunting animals, teaching them as trainers teach. Why are they all female? Today, all good things have been made lawful for you. The food of those who were given the scripture is lawful for you, and your food is lawful for them. And so are chaste women from among the believers, and chaste women from among those who were given the scripture before you, provided you give them their dowries, marrying them as chaste men, not as fornicators or those who take secret lovers. And whoever disbelieves in faith, his deeds have become worthless, and in the hereafter he will be among the losers. Very good. The meaning of this, in short, so we don't run out of time today. The day this verse was revealed, which is a specific point in time, meaning over 1,400 years ago. You get what I mean? The slaughtered animals of the Jews and Christians have been made lawful for you. When they slaughter, you can eat from them. And likewise, your slaughtered animals are lawful for them. When you slaughter, they can eat with you as well. And it has been made lawful for you to marry chaste women from among the people of the book, that is, those who are virtuous or free women. Good. And also, you can marry, of course, for example, Uthman married a Christian woman, Naila bint al-Farafiza, that was her name, and Talha ibn Ubayd Allah married a Jewish woman. So, it's settled. We have made it lawful for you to marry women from among the people of the book. All right then. Very good. So, the truth is, what's the story here? Look, sorry, the light dimmed for a moment there, so I didn't want to cut off. But it came back again. I don't know why. The truth is, it's the reason for the revelation. And whoever disbelieves in faith, his deeds will be nullified, or his deeds are nullified. So, when God permitted the believers or Muslims to marry women from the people of the book, the women of the book said something. They said, if God hadn't been pleased with us, the women of the book, women of the people of the book, Jewish and Christian women said, if God hadn't been pleased with us, he wouldn't have allowed believers to marry us. Makes sense. And the Muslims said, how can one of us marry a woman from the people of the book when she's not of our religion? So the verse that addresses this was revealed. This is mentioned in Zad al-Mazir fi ilm al-Tafsir by Ibn al-Jawzi. Alright, the question here is, why was it permitted for a believer to marry a woman from the people of the book, but not permitted for a man from the people of the book to marry a believing or Muslim woman? Why? 6. O you who believe, when you rise to pray, wash your faces and your hands up to the elbows, and wipe your heads and your feet up to the ankles. And if you are in a state of major impurity, then purify yourselves. And if you are ill or on a journey, or if one of you comes from relieving himself, or you have touched women and cannot find water, then seek clean earth and wipe your faces and hands with it. God does not wish to place any hardship on you, but he wishes to purify you and complete his favor upon you, so that you may be grateful. There are two opinions regarding the reason for this revelation. Pay attention. The first opinion says that it was revealed about Aisha. The second opinion says no, it was revealed about the Prophet himself. All right, let's see. Regarding Aisha, it was when Lady Aisha lost her necklace. You see, they were, Aisha said in a hadith narrated by Al-Bukhari that they went out with the Prophet on a journey. Let me read it to you so we can get through it. Even when we were in the desert, or what they call Al-Maidah. When we were in the desert, my necklace broke. The necklace I was wearing, which I think belonged to my sister. You see, my necklace came apart and I lost it. So the Prophet started looking for the necklace along with the people who were with him. And there was no water in that area, and we didn't have any water with us. There was no water in the area, nor did we have any stored water. Very well. So of course, Abu Bakr came while the Prophet was sleeping on her thigh. The Prophet was sleeping on her lap from exhaustion. So Abu Bakr came, upset, and said to her, "How could you lose the necklace and make the Prophet and the people with us busy searching for your necklace while we're in the desert and there's no water? Do you realize what you've done?" Anyway, he scolded me for my carelessness. Her father hit her twice on her side or under her arm just to discipline her, and she didn't move. She refused to budge. Why? Because the Prophet was sleeping on her knee or on her legs, and she didn't want to disturb him. So she endured her father's blows to her side. For what reason? So she wouldn't wake the Prophet from his sleep. Anyway, the Prophet woke up in the morning. She sat there the whole night while he slept on her leg, and when he woke up, he found there was no water. Then the verse was revealed. All right, that's clear. Very nice. That's Aisha and the necklace lost. Okay, fine. Others say no. There's another opinion. This was revealed about the Prophet himself. So how was it revealed about the Prophet himself? It was revealed about the Prophet himself because he wouldn't do anything, wouldn't return any greeting or speak to anyone unless he was in a state of ablution. So God taught him that ablution is only required for prayer, meaning you can return a greeting even if you're not in a state of ablution. And you can do anything even if you're not in a state of ablution. You can talk to people even if you're not in a state of ablution. So even the Prophet himself didn't know that ablution was only for prayer. Just imagine that. What I want to tell you is that this verse explains everything in detail. It details the rituals of ablution, where to wipe, what to do. And if there's no water, you can perform tayammum and everything is covered. And as for prayer, go back to verse 28 in Al-Baqarah. We mentioned maintain prayers and the middle prayer and all those things. Don't let anyone tell you only in the Sunnah. So who tells us about ablution? In verse 6 of Surah Al-Maidah, there's a complete explanation of ablution. So where are the details of prayer? The number of rak'ahs? In verse 28 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Go back to it. That's ablution and prayer. There's no need for extra sunnah. That's why, in a video, I said the solution is to abolish the sunnah, because it's become a book parallel to the Quran, and the Prophet has become a deity parallel to God. That's the sad truth. The source is Al-Bar al-Mahit by Abu Hayyan. Remember God's blessing upon you and the covenant he made with you when you said, "We hear and we obey." And fear God. Indeed, God knows what is within the hearts. The meaning. Remember God's blessing, intellect, health, body, and hearing, and the blessing of sight. Remember God's blessing upon them. Regarding the covenant, there are two opinions. All right, what is meant by it? Not the first one. He said, what does the verse about the covenant say? I'm reading what the verse says. And remember God's blessing upon you and his covenant with which he bound you. So what is this covenant? What is meant by the covenant are the agreements that took place between the prophet and the believers regarding listening and obedience. That's good. So God attributed the covenant made by the prophet to himself. Meaning, when the prophet makes a covenant with someone, it is as if God himself made that covenant. Or when the prophet made a pact with someone, it was as if God himself made that pact. Clear. Absolutely right. And by the way, just like it says, those who pledge allegiance to you are actually pledging allegiance to God. Al-Fath, verse 10. And actually, this is the point from which I took the title of this episode. It's unbelievable and illogical that whoever makes a covenant with the prophet is as if they've made a covenant with God. And that whoever makes a pact with the prophet, it's as if they've made a pact with God. Because in that case, the prophet would be taking God's place. I mean, the verse didn't say this. Whoever trusts you regarding what you brought from your Lord. No, it just says, whoever trusts you. The you here refers directly and openly to the prophet. Whoever makes a pact with you, it's as if they've made a pact with God. Of course not. This verse needs a completely new reading because it didn't specify. It left it open to the prophet. Whoever trusts you, is it according to what they agree with you on? Of course not. That doesn't work. Pay attention. Those who pledge allegiance to you are actually pledging allegiance to God. Al-Fath, verse 10. I really hope that. The people who are researchers, not the jurists. Those jurists, they're just making a living. It's the neutral researchers who should read verse 10 of Surah Al-Fath with a different perspective and in a very fair way, so we can see what's really in it. Because honestly, I can't figure out what's in it. The other opinion says, no, that's exactly what's meant. The covenant that God took from the children of Israel when they said, we believe in the Torah and everything in it, you see, and among those things was the glad tidings of the coming of the prophet, you see. And that's why there was a covenant upon them that they must acknowledge the prophethood of Muhammad and the truth of his message. The source is Al-Razi's Keys to the Unseen. All right, very good. So the question here is the prophet God? Does the prophet represent God? Whoever makes a covenant with him is they've made a covenant with God. Of course not. The prophet does not represent God at all. The prophet's mission is to deliver the message. 8. O you who believe, be steadfast for God, witnesses in justice, and do not let the hatred of a people make you swerve from justice. Pay attention. This is repeated here just like we mentioned in verse 2. And do not let the hatred of a people make you swerve from justice. Be just, that is closer to piety. And fear God, for God is well aware of what you do. The reason for revelation. When the prophet went to ask the Jews of Kabar about blood money, they wanted to kill him. He told them, we are owed blood money in such and such a way. So and so was killed, and we want his blood money. So they wanted to kill the prophet himself. The verse appeared and shone forth immediately, just like that. So the meaning here, steadfast for God, means carrying out God's commands. You get it? And wala yajramannakum means, do not let it drive you, as we said in point number 2. Do not let the hatred of a people or the crime of a people drive you, even if they have wronged you. Meaning, to the point that you don't act justly. No, even if they have wronged you. And even if they hate you, you still have to be just with them, for that is closer to piety. What's the source? Fath al-Qadir by al-Shawkani. Alright, we're almost done. Allah has promised those who believe and do righteous deeds that they will have forgiveness and a great reward. Reason for revelation. After the people of Mecca embraced Islam, they asked the Prophet, what has Allah prepared for us in the hereafter, given that we previously drove you and your companions out of Mecca? So, they were expecting a good reward. Source: Bar al-Ulum by al-Samarkandi. Honestly, there's a point here that caught my attention a bit. It says, Allah has promised those who believe and do righteous deeds. Is the promise for them or by them? the promises for them, I think. Look at the verse again. Allah has promised those who believe and do righteous deeds that they will have forgiveness. So, as I was reading it. And look, when we read it again, what do we say? Allah has promised those who believe and do righteous deeds that they will have forgiveness and a reward. Notice the promise is by it, not for it, but in any case, that's fine. The sources bar Al-Ulum by Al-Samarkandi, verse 10. The last verse states, "But those who disbelieve and deny our signs, they are the companions of the hellfire." This means those who denied Allah's oneness, broke his covenants, and rejected what messengers brought will abide forever in hellfire. Thank you all very much.